I never thought a pen could weigh this much. It's Mont Blanc. Hers, of course. Slim, sharp, metallic, like her. Cassandra always had a thing for statements, even in silence. I hold it between my fingers, trying to remember how many times I've signed my name beside hers. Lease forms. Tax filings. Wedding registry. None of those signatures ever made my hand tremble. Now it does. Across the conference table, she sits in navy blue, tailored, minimal, lethal. She doesn't look at me. She hasn't since I walked in. She's scrolling on her phone, probably skimming through emails from her executive assistant or texting him. Marcus Vellum, the CTO of her company, the man I once caught in our kitchen, shirtless, helping her cook coq au vin. Just an old friend, she said. Right. Her lawyer clears his throat. Mr. Reed, whenever you're ready. I'm not. But I nod anyway. The divorce settlement is generous. Obscenely so. I never asked for alimony. She insisted. Said it would make things smoother. I know what she meant, keep me quiet. No mess. No drama. Just a clean, pretty break that doesn't mar the press narrative of Cassandra Lyon, visionary CEO, loving wife, graceful divorcee. I signed. The click of the pen feels louder than it should. Final. Her lawyer nods, slides the papers toward himself, shuffles them into a black folder like he's putting away a body. Cassandra stands. She adjusts her jacket, smooths the sleeve at her wrist, and finally, looks at me. Her expression is unreadable. Surgical. You'll be okay, she says. I almost laughed, but I don't give her the satisfaction. I was okay before you, I say. It's not true, but I want it to be. I want her to flinch. She doesn't. Instead, she gives me a small, polite smile, the kind you give a barista who gets your order wrong but still tries. Goodbye, Daniel. And just like that, she walks out of the room and out of my life. Marcus is waiting outside. I hear his voice before I see him. Smooth, confident, already comfortable in the skin of the man who won. I glimpse them through the frosted glass. He touches the small of her back like he's always belonged there. Maybe he did. Maybe I was just the placeholder. I don't wait to hear what they're saying. I leave through the side exit, out into the city, where the late afternoon sun burns gold against the glass of the high-rises. I can't feel the warmth. Not yet. My phone buzzes in my pocket. One message. Lena Rivers. You okay? I stare at the screen for a long second. She's always known when to check in. It's been years since we were close, drifted apart after college, after Cassandra, but she still feels like home. Unlike everything else. I type back. Me. Signed it. It's done. Her reply is instant. Lena. Drinks tonight? My place. I'll bring the whiskey. You bring the tears. I laugh, the first real sound I've made all day. Me. Deal. I slip the phone back into my pocket and walk. No destination. No plan. Just one foot in front of the other, until I'm no longer in that conference room, until Cassandra's perfume isn't still clinging to my lungs. I signed my freedom today. Or maybe I signed away the last piece of myself. I'm not sure which yet. But tonight, there's Lena. And maybe that's enough. For now. There's a silence that lives in empty rooms. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses in around you, like the walls, remember everything you'd rather forget. I stand in the doorway of the penthouse for the last time. The floors gleam. The windows stretch from wall to wall, showcasing the skyline Cassandra loved so much. If I'm not higher than my competition, she used to say, I'm not trying hard enough. I used to think it was funny. Bold. Now it just feels lonely up here. I step inside, letting the door close behind me with a soft click. My footsteps echo on the marble. There's not much left. Just a few boxes I promised I'd pick up today. Books, a coat I forgot, and the wooden jewelry box I made for her when we were still dating. She left that one. Of course. The bedroom is immaculate. Stripped down. Even the scent of her perfume is gone, replaced with lavender diffusers her assistant probably installed. No sign she ever lived here. Or that I ever did. In the closet, I found a photo. It's tucked between an old leather folder and a half-zipped travel bag, probably meant for donation. A bent Polaroid. Me and Lena, age 17, standing side by side at our high school startup showcase. We'd built a mock app for student mental health. I'm holding a poster board with crooked bullet points. Lena's got a coffee in one hand and a laugh frozen mid-motion. God, we looked like idiots. Idiots with hope. Back then, Lena believed in me before I believed in myself. She used to say I had CEO energy. I told her she was full of it. I guess she was. Cassandra became the CEO. I became a +1. I pocket the photo. In the living room, I linger by the glass wall one last time. The city below is alive, pulsing with opportunity, with betrayal, with late-night ambition and whispered exits. Somewhere down there, Cassandra and Marcus are probably celebrating. Maybe christening her new apartment. Or each other. I don't want to know. My phone buzzes. Lena. Whiskey's breathing. You better be on your way. I text back a thumbs-up emoji. I don't trust myself to say more. Before I go, I take one last look at the penthouse. It was never mine. I just lived in it. I lock the door and slide the key into the envelope labeled Read, Daniel. Funny, she still had my name on things. Even after everything. Outside, the doorman nods politely as I pass. Moving out? Yeah, I say. For good. He doesn't ask questions. That's part of his job. I envy that. Ty's already gaming when I get back to the loft. Our apartment smells like ramen, incense, and unwashed ambition. There are bean bags and whiteboards everywhere. Notes about crypto and indie game mechanics scribbled beside crude doodles of dragons in hoodies. I toss the boxes in my room and collapse onto the couch. Ty looks over his shoulder. How's the penthouse? Miss her already? I exhale. Not even a little. He grins, then returns to his screen. Good. Because your new place comes with less betrayal and better snacks. My phone buzzes again. Lena, hurry. I open the good bottle. I grab my coat, my keys, and the folded photo of us from high school. Time to stop haunting places I don't belong in. Time to go where the ghosts are kinder. I don't go looking for it. I'm just scrolling LinkedIn over my morning coffee, trying to pretend I'm one of those normal people who start their day with industry insights instead of existential dread and boxed leftovers. Then I see it. Lion Plus Vellum Innovations announces Phoenix launch, a new era of AI-assisted workflow platforms. Her face is in the header image. Cassandra, chin tilted, eyes steel sharp, hair perfectly coiled over one shoulder. Marcus stands next to her in a dark charcoal suit, hand resting lightly on the back of her chair. They're not just partners. They're branded, styled, unapologetically coordinated like a couple straight out of a Forbes feature. The caption: From partners in vision to partners in life, Lion and Vellum are ready to reshape the industry. I blink. There's no mention of me. No acknowledgement that 2/3 of the original pitch deck came from late nights in our shared condo, over wine and pad thai, while she told me I was brilliant between tired kisses. I closed the app. But the damage is already done. Lena's voice pulls me back to earth. You okay? She asks from across the glass desk, brow arched. Her co-working hub, the Nest, is a maze of exposed brick, soft lighting, and startup energy humming through the walls like caffeine. She's setting up a projector for some local VC mixer later tonight. I hesitate. Have you seen the news? She squints. You mean the Marcus and Cassandra circus? I nod. She walks over and sets a mug beside me, black coffee, no sugar, no pity. They're doing what they do best, she says. Performing. I appreciate her lack of sympathy. It keeps me grounded. You think I'm bitter. I think you're waking up. By evening, the Nest is buzzing. People crowd around name tag tables and bar carts, slinging elevator pitches and half-practiced charm. Everyone's hunting for attention, funding, or validation, sometimes all three. I stick near the back, nursing Lena's whiskey-laced punch and pretending I care about some guy's decentralized parking app. It's loud, hot, claustrophobic. Then the air shifts. I don't need to look to know why. Cassandra enters. In a fitted ivory blouse and black high-waisted trousers, flanked by Marcus. He's all smiles, shaking hands, owning the room like a tech messiah. Cassandra's eyes sweep the space with surgical precision, landing briefly on me, and then moving on. The room flocks to them like moths to a headline. They're magnetic. Disgustingly so. They weren't even supposed to be here, Lena says under her breath beside me. They RSVP'd late. I keep my eyes forward. Of course they did. Gotta steal thunder. Her hand brushes mine beneath the table. You want to leave? No, I say. Let them see I'm still breathing. An hour in, I hear it. So you're that Daniel. I turn. It's Marcus, drink in hand, smirk firmly in place. He's taller than I remember, broader now too, like Cassandra's approval has been feeding him protein. You know, he adds, voice low, we really should have asked if you wanted credit on some of those early concepts. But you didn't copyright them, so. Lena steps forward. Wow. Bold of you to admit that in public. Marcus chuckles. Just being friendly. I stare at him. Not angry. Not explosive. Just, still. You know what the difference is between me and you? I say. He raises a brow. I gave her everything and asked for nothing. You'll give her everything and she'll still want more. His smirk tightens, just for a second. Then he walks away. Later, I sat outside the building on the cold curb, Lena beside me, legs stretched into the quiet night. You handled that better than I would've, she says. I shake my head. He's not worth it. You are, though. I glance at her. She's staring at the stars like they owe her answers. Why'd you text me the day I signed? I ask. She looks over. Because I knew what it would feel like. To watch someone choose a version of success that doesn't include you. We sit in silence, sharing it like a blanket. Somewhere inside, Cassandra is still schmoozing investors and Marcus is still telling the story of their perfect rebrand. But out here, with Lena, I can finally breathe. The elevator smells like citrus and steel. I'm already inside when the doors begin to close, thumb hovering over the button for the 5th floor of the nest, Lena's space. I hear heels clicking, fast, deliberate. Then I see her. Cassandra slips in just before the doors shut. She doesn't speak. Neither do I. We stand side by side, inches apart, like strangers at a train station. But I can feel the weight of her perfume faint but familiar, her posture perfectly measured. It's the first time we've been alone since the papers were signed. The elevator hums and begins its slow ascent. I glance sideways. She's looking ahead, her jaw tight, fingers resting on her phone screen. Not texting. Not scrolling. Just, holding it. Like a shield. The silence stretches. Then, out of nowhere, she speaks. You look tired. I almost laughed. Divorce will do that to a guy. She exhales through her nose. Not quite a sigh. You could have fought harder. Over the IP, I mean. Your name would have made it Messier, but, maybe you wanted it clean. You mean invisible. Her eyes finally meet mine. No, she says, voice low. I mean painless. Funny, I reply. It wasn't. She looks away. The elevator dings. 3rd floor. We're halfway. I could say more. I want to ask her if she ever loved me or if I was just a warm-up for Marcus. I want to scream that he's building an empire on bones I helped stack. But I don't. Because the truth is, I already know the answers. And she already knows I know. Instead, I ask, why'd you keep the alimony so high? She pauses. Then, because I owed you more than an apology. The elevator dings again. 5th floor. My floor. I step out, pause, and turn back toward her. You didn't owe me money, Cassandra, I say. You owed me honesty. But I guess Marcus pays in upfront contracts and exit clauses, so maybe that's more your language now. She doesn't reply. As the doors begin to close, I see it, just for a flicker. Not guilt, but something smaller. Regret, maybe. Or a memory trying to claw its way back in. And then it's gone. Lena's waiting for me inside, holding 2 coffees, her eyes scanning mine as I approach. You look like someone just walked over your grave, she says. I take the cup. Close. She just rode the elevator with me. Lena doesn't ask for details. She just walks beside me into the workspace, past the startup founders and pitch decks, into the future. And for the first time in weeks, I feel the past loosening its grip, floor by floor. The deposit lands at exactly 6 a.m. $10,000. Labeled only, alimony, CYL Industries LLC. It hits my account like a loaded apology. I stare at the screen, phone resting on my stomach, still lying in bed. Ty's already in the kitchen playing trap music over the sound of sizzling eggs, but I don't move. Cassandra didn't send a message. Of course not. The payment says enough. 10 grand a month, for my silence, my absence, my failure. A golden leash. A padded exile. I should feel grateful. Instead, I feel sick. By noon, I've bought absolutely nothing. I spent the morning walking through Midtown in a haze. I passed 4 coffee shops, 2 second-hand bookstores, and an apartment open house I couldn't afford a year ago, but could now, easily. If I wanted to. But everything I touch with that money will feel like hers. Like a branded scar on the skin of my life. I wander into the nest around 2 o'clock. Lena's on a Zoom call in the glass fishbowl meeting room, half laughing, notebook in her lap. When she sees me, she taps the mic off for a second and mouths, "Whiskey later." I nod. I open my laptop at a back desk, but I don't work. Instead, I opened an old folder called Concept, Drift. The first few slides are rough sketches from 3 years ago, back when Cassandra and I would brainstorm after midnight. We called it Drift back then. A minimalist personal productivity platform with adaptive mood tracking, humanized UX, and AI sync. Now it's Phoenix. Rebranded, refined, and stripped of me. Except they forgot something. My notes, raw, flawed, but brimming with DNA they can't replicate. That night, Lena and I drink on her fire escape. She pours 2 fingers of Glenlivet into mismatched mugs and hands me one. "You got the money today?" I nod, staring into the amber swirl. It felt insulting. Because it makes you feel owned. I glance at her. Because it reminds me I never needed her. She sips. "That money is a door, Daniel. It doesn't care which way you walk through it. But you should." I let her words sit. She always had that way of boiling life down to clean lines. "What would you do," I ask, "if someone handed you 10 grand every month and told you to vanish?" She doesn't answer immediately. Then, I'd build something so loud they'd hear me even in silence. I look at her. Really look. Lena isn't like Cassandra. She doesn't command a room. She doesn't orbit in wealth or worship. But when she says something, it stays with you. Back at the loft, I transfer the entire alimony deposit into a separate account labeled redacted. Then I open a blank slide deck. Title, Project Ghostlight. No logos. No stolen code. Just me. And whatever comes next. Some betrayals arrive like a slap. Others, like a whisper you hear too late. This one starts with a podcast. I'm at the nest, half-focused, trying to sketch UX flow for Project Ghostlight, when Ty sends me a link with the message. "Yo. Skip to anime-style illustration with soft golden lighting, elegant characters in formal evening wear, expressive large eyes, semi-realistic face detailing, warm cinematic glow, and emotionally subtle expressions like surprise or intrigue." 7:32, trust me. It's an episode of Tech Tide Talks, one of those fast-talking startup hype shows where founders drop buzzwords like breadcrumbs for venture capitalists to follow. The title, Rebuilding Burnt Bridges, Lion and Vellum's Philosophy of the Pivot. I don't want to click. I do anyway. At anime-style illustration with soft golden lighting, elegant characters in formal evening wear, expressive large eyes, semi-realistic face detailing, warm cinematic glow, and emotionally subtle expressions like surprise or intrigue. 7:32, Cassandra's voice cuts in, smooth, confident, polished for public consumption. Marcus and I realized that productivity tools are stuck in transactional loops. We wanted Phoenix to feel emotional, instinctive. Like it learns with you, not just from you. And then Marcus. We spent months prototyping adaptive response matrices. You know, tracking not just behavior, but ambient emotion through passive data. My blood runs cold. Ambient emotion through passive data. That phrase was mine. I wrote it on a napkin 3 years ago during a migraine. Cassandra loved it. She used to tease me that it sounded like sci-fi jargon. Now it's her tagline. Their tagline. I dig. I go full archive mode. Old cloud backups, shared folders, Slack messages from the days when Cassandra and I still believed in we. The files are there. Drift_R&D_V0.6, dated February 2022. Adaptive Loop Doc Final, DR. My initials on half of them. There's a slide, mine, labeled Emotional Parity Interface. I remember staying up until 3 a.m. drawing it out while she massaged my shoulders. They took it, cleaned the raw off it, smoothed the edges, polished it into a crown jewel, and stuck it at the heart of Phoenix. No credit, no trace, no guilt. I closed the laptop. My hands are shaking. Lena finds me on the stairwell between the 3rd and 4th floors. I must have left the door to the back stairwell open, because the air is thick with rust and rain and old insulation. She sits next to me, quiet for a moment. Then, Ty told me. I nod. I can't speak yet. If I do, I might scream. I didn't register it before, she says. But that phrase, emotional parity, You showed that to me once. You drew it on a napkin at Denny's. I look at her. You remember that? I remember you explaining it like it would change the world. I lean forward, elbows on knees. Do I sue? She shrugs. Sure. Spend the next 3 years in court against a multimillion-dollar legal team. Or outbuild them. I exhale. It's not just the tech, I say. It's how easily she erased me. Lena places a hand on mine. She didn't erase you, Daniel. She repackaged you. That means the blueprint still lives in you. Not in them. That night, I stayed at the Nest after hours. Lena gives me her spare key and tells me to lock up. At 2, anime-style illustration with soft golden lighting, elegant characters in formal evening wear, expressive large eyes, semi-realistic face detailing, warm cinematic glow, and emotionally subtle expressions like surprise or intrigue. 3 a.m., I open a new doc in my Ghostlight folder. I title it, Things They Can't Steal. And the first bullet reads, I still dream in systems no one understands but me. The first thing I notice at Collab is the lighting. Too bright, too clean, like the whole place is trying to burn away its shadows. Marcus would have approved. Collab is Cassandra's latest pet project, a satellite showroom space for Phoenix, disguised as a community innovation hub. But it's really just a glossy pitch cathedral. Everything in here screams curated, the branded moss wall, the smooth jazz playlist, the voice-activated smart desks. And tonight, they're hosting an open innovation night. The irony almost makes me laugh. I shouldn't be here. But Lena insisted. You either show up and take space, she said this morning, or you keep letting them set the narrative. So here I am, wearing my second-best blazer, holding a mock-up pitch deck on my tablet, surrounded by thin smiles and deep wallets. Cassandra sees me before I see her. I feel it, that imperceptible shift in air when her gaze locks in. She's by the espresso bar, sleek as ever in a silk blouse and pearl-drop earrings, talking to a panel of advisors from Luxera Capital. Her hand lingers on Marcus's elbow. Of course he's here too. The CTO himself, sipping sparkling water like he built the algorithm with his bare hands. His laugh is too loud, too performative, like he's trying to prove he belongs at the top of the food chain. I move through the crowd, not speaking. I just observe. A few faces glance my way, old colleagues, a couple mutuals from the Cassandra days. None of them approach. I'm the ghost at the banquet. Until Cassandra moves. She leaves her conversation mid-sentence and walks straight toward me. Daniel, she says, like we're old friends bumping into each other at brunch. Cassandra. I nod, keeping my voice flat. Nice temple you've built. She smiles thinly. We invited community founders. Surprised to see you here. I was invited, I say. By someone who didn't forget where the ideas came from. Her expression doesn't shift, but her posture tightens, just slightly. Look, she says quietly. If this is about the old drafts. It's not just the drafts, I cut in. It's everything you peeled from my brain and polished into marketable lies. People are starting to notice. Conversations stall around us like dropped calls. She lowers her voice. We improved them, Daniel. We made them real. You never wanted that level of visibility. No, I say. I just didn't want to build something with someone who views people as code to optimize. Her eyes narrow, just for a second. That old fire, beneath the control. You could have come with me, she says. If you'd kept up. There it is. I step in slightly, close enough that no one else hears what I say next. You didn't want a partner. You wanted a mirror. And I stopped reflecting on what you needed. She blinks. That strikes deeper than she'll admit. Behind her, Marcus watches us. He doesn't step in. He doesn't need to. He's already won the public part of this game. But that's fine. Because I'm not here to win the crowd. I'm here to stop shrinking in their presence. Later, Lena finds me outside, leaning on a railing, staring down at the courtyard where interns and influencers take filtered selfies beneath the Phoenix logo. She doesn't say anything. Just slips a folded napkin into my hand. I unfold it. Scrawled across the back of a Collab drink menu, in her handwriting. Let them steal the fire. You still own the spark. The projector is humming like it's nervous for me. The Nest's exposed brick walls glow faintly under the amber track lights. People are still settling into their chairs, startup founders, indie devs, a few minor VCs, and Lena, front row, legs crossed, eyes locked on me. I've been to 100 pitch nights. But never like this. Because tonight, I'm the one with the deck. Up next, the host says, tapping the mic, Daniel Reed, founder of Ghostlight Systems. My name echoes through the loft, not attached to Cassandra. Not a +1. Not a footnote. Just mine. I walk to the front, tablet in hand, palms only slightly sweating. Deep breath, then I begin. 3 months ago, I say, I signed a divorce settlement that came with a monthly check, and a quiet expectation that I'd disappear. A few heads tilt. People are listening. But instead of vanishing, I started building again. From zero. No funding. No press. No noise. Just, me. The first slide clicks up behind me, a skeletal UI mockup, soft grayscale, clean lines. The Ghostlight prototype. A digital mirror that doesn't just track your schedule, but your spiral. There's a ripple of laughter. Ghostlight isn't productivity software. It's an emotional feedback platform for people rebuilding. Post-divorce. Post-burnout. Post-failure. The dark times when the language of optimization doesn't help, because you're not trying to win. You're just trying to function. More heads nod now. Less polite, more real. Slide 2, a flow of mood prompts that evolve based on journal tone, sleep habits, music preference. Nothing invasive. All opt-in. All real. Ghostlight listens, I say. Then it illuminates. I don't know how long I talk, but I know when I finish, people clap, and not the tight, networking clap. This one feels earned. Not loud. Not thunderous. Just, honest. And when I step off stage, Lena is there waiting. She doesn't say, great job. She doesn't hug me. She just bumps her shoulder into mine and murmurs, told you. Back at my desk later that night, I found an email. From a small mental health nonprofit. They saw the pitch. They want to talk about partnerships. I stare at the screen. No Cassandra. No Marcus. No validation bought with betrayal. Just, possibility. One message from Lena before I crash for the night. Lena. You burned the old version of yourself. Now we get to see what rises. For once, I don't think of her words as metaphors. Because tonight, something really did ignite. And it's mine. It's strange how fast things can move once people start saying, yes. 2 days after the pitch, I'm in back-to-back calls with non-profit reps, a UX consultant from Berlin, and a low-key angel investor who likes how raw the product feels. I barely eat. I forget to reply to Ty's texts. I ignored 5 missed calls from my mom. I'm building again. And I feel nothing. Not pride. Not energy. Not joy. Just, momentum. Like I've been shoved downhill, and now I'm sprinting just to avoid falling on my face. Lena texts around midnight. Lena. Checking in. Breathing okay. I stare at the screen. And don't reply. Instead, I open my contacts. Scroll down. Hesitate. Cassandra Lyon. I tap the message bubble. My thumbs hover over the keyboard. I start typing. You were right about the feedback loops. Phoenix won't solve grief, it just packages it better. But Ghostlight is different. I get it now. I get what you meant when you said I wasn't built for this. But I am now. I just wish you told me that before you. Delete. I drop the phone on the nightstand like it might bite me. 3 days later, Lena corners me at the nest. You've been ghosting. I shrug. Busy. Too busy to breathe. Her tone isn't angry. It's disappointing. And that cuts deeper. You pitched Ghostlight as a recovery tool, Daniel. But you're not recovering, you're spiraling with better branding. I shoot her a look. That's not fair, isn't it? She folds her arms, leans against the wall. You can't just build your way out of what she did to you. My voice rises without warning. I'm not building to escape her, Lena. I'm building so I never need her again. She flinches. And that's when I realize I've gone too far. But she doesn't yell. She just nods slowly, backing away like she's seen this part of me before, and didn't like it then either. You know where to find me, she says, turning to leave. The door clicks shut behind her, soft as a goodbye. That night, I didn't open Ghostlight. I don't touch my pitch deck, or code, or even my phone. I just lie on the couch in the dark, replaying every word she says. Every silence. And for the first time in weeks, I let myself feel it. Not the betrayal. Not ambition. Just the grief. Rain's been tapping the windows since morning. Not heavy. Just enough to keep the world hushed. I haven't seen Lena in 3 days. I told Ty I was sick, He didn't press. He knows when silence is the better medicine. This afternoon, I forced myself to clean desk drawers, shoeboxes, the closet floor. A purge to clear the noise inside my head. That's when I found it. A folder I haven't touched in years, buried behind tax returns and forgotten conference swag. Inside, old printouts, scraps of business card mock-ups from college, a faded program from the 20-inch anime-style illustration with soft golden lighting, elegant characters in formal evening wear, expressive large eyes, semi-realistic face detailing, warm cinematic glow, and emotionally subtle expressions like surprise or intrigue. 6 Campus Startup Expo. And tucked between the pages, something handwritten. My name on the outside. Daniel. I unfold the note with slow hands. Lena's handwriting, looped, neat, and a little shaky at the bottom. I don't know if you'll ever read this. But I'm writing it anyway. Because if I don't say it now, I'll end up watching you marry someone else, and I'll smile through it. And that'll break me. My breath catches. We were 17 when I realized I loved you. We were 20 when I knew I probably wouldn't be the one. You were already orbiting her. I sit down, hard. I'm not writing this to make you feel guilty. I'm writing it so I can finally let it go. If you find this, and you ever feel the same, say something. If you don't, that's okay too. Just promise me you'll remember I was always in your corner. At the bottom, she signed it. L. The date? April 20-inch anime-style illustration with soft golden lighting, elegant characters in formal evening wear, expressive large eyes, semi-realistic face detailing, warm cinematic glow, and emotionally subtle expressions like surprise or intrigue. 8. 3 weeks before Cassandra and I got engaged. I pressed the paper to my forehead, eyes closed. I never saw this. I'd packed everything in a rush during the move. We were upgrading to a loft Cassandra picked. I'd probably shoved the letter in the folder without looking, focused on paint swatches and launch schedules. And now, I can't stop thinking about all the conversations Lena and I never had. The moments we stood on the edge of something, only to let silence win. That night, I walked to her building. The rain turned into a slow mist, soaking my hoodie by the time I reached her front steps. I don't text. I knocked. A minute passes. Then the door creaks open, and there she is. Messy bun. Sweatshirt. No makeup. Eyes tired, but not surprised. I figured you'd show up eventually, she says softly. I hold up the letter. I never read it. Not until today. Her expression shifts, fear, sadness, maybe hope. All tangled. And, I don't know what I feel yet, I admit. But I know what I regret. She exhales, long and steady. Then step aside. Come in. It's been 1 week since I read Lena's letter. 5 days since I knocked on her door. And 3 days since we sat side by side on her couch in total silence, hands inches apart, hearts beating like clocks out of sync. Nothing was said. Nothing needed to be. Sometimes healing isn't a conversation. It's the comfort of still being welcomed in the room. This morning, I woke up early. The alimony deposit hits my account at 6 a.m., just like always. But this time, I didn't stare at it. I opened the banking app, scrolled to auto transfer settings, and disabled the standing order Cassandra had set up through her company account. A warning pops up. Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring deposit? Yes. I type it in, letter by letter. Why yes. There's no ceremony. No sound. Just a notification confirming it's gone. And with it, so is she. Ty notices the shift before I say anything. He's pouring cereal in the kitchen when he glances at me and says, "You're standing taller. What did you do, sell a kidney?" I smirk. Nope. Cancelled Cassandra. He blinks. Alimony? Every cent. I'm done accepting money from people who see me as a liability. Ty raises his spoon like toast. To break beginnings and rich awakenings. We clink coffee mugs instead. Later that day, I met Lena on the roof of the Nest. The skyline behind her is washed in orange and gold, the city buzzing softly beneath us. I cut the cord, I say, sitting beside her on the old bench we sometimes eat lunch on. She looks over. The money? I nod. She doesn't smile. She doesn't clap. She just leans into me, shoulder to shoulder. That's not just independence, she murmurs. That's power. For a while, we just sat there, the breeze tugging at her hoodie strings, my fingers brushing the edge of my phone where Project Ghostlight now lives as a beta. Everything I need is already here. Not in courtrooms. Not in boardrooms. Not in her name. But mine. Before we leave, I send one final message to Cassandra. No bitterness. No apology. Just clarity. Daniel. No more deposits. I'm rebuilding without your scaffolding. Keep whatever you think I owe you. I've already paid it in years. She never replies. And that's fine. I don't need her response to feel free. Because the weight is already gone. The first time we kiss again, it's not planned. It's raining, again, and we're sitting on the floor of Lena's apartment, eating takeout from a paper bag because the power went out 15 minutes ago. She has candles scattered across the floor. Not romantic. Just practical. One flickers beside her water-damaged bookshelf. Another glows in the hollow of a chipped planter. We're mid-bite when she says it. You never asked why I never sent another letter. I look up from my carton of noodles. Why? She shrugs. Because I didn't want to be your backup plan. I nod slowly. And I didn't want to be the guy who came running just because she finally left me, I say. Lena sets her food aside. We were both waiting, she says. But we weren't standing still. The silence that follows isn't heavy. It breathes. Then I lean forward. It's not the kind of kiss that sweeps away years of pain. It's the kind that acknowledges them. Soft, careful, real. Afterward, we just lie there, her head on my chest, my hand tracing idle circles on her shoulder. I'm scared, I whisper. Of what? She asks. That I'll screw it up. That I'm still not enough. She tilts her head, meets my eyes in the dim glow. You're not supposed to be perfect, Daniel. You're just supposed to show up. That's all I ever wanted. Over the next week, we fall into something gentle. I still work late. She still runs the nest like a lighthouse for the lost. But now there's shared coffee in the mornings. Lazy texts at 2 a.m. A playlist we both add songs to. We don't label anything. We just are. And it feels like breathing again. Not starting over. Just starting. On Friday night, Lena introduces me to a few of her old friends from a startup retreat in Colorado. One of them, a tall woman with gray eyes and a sharper-than-average mind, smiles at me and says, "You're Daniel, the ghost-like guy." I blink. Yeah. She grins. "I've heard about you. You've got something." I glance at Lena. She's smiling into her drink. And in that moment, I realize. This isn't Cassandra's world anymore. It's not the corporate palace where I had to shrink to stay inside. It's Lena's world now. Mine, too. Built on the wreckage, but standing. Quietly. Steadily. Ours. The morning of the launch, I woke up before the alarm. I don't feel nervous. Not the way I expected. I feel, still. There's no press team. No branded press release. No champagne in a rooftop bar. Just a simple post, pre-scheduled to go live at 9 a.m. Introducing Ghostlight. A space for your breakdowns, your rebuilds, and the space in between. No noise. No judgment. Just a little light in the dark. Daniel Reed. The site goes live with it. The beta version of the app, open to early users. No paywall. No aggressive monetization. Just something real. A digital tool for those trying to survive the wreckage. Like I was. Like I still am. By noon, the inbox is full. Early feedback. Notes from therapists. Comments from people I'll never meet, saying things like, "I thought I was the only one who needed something like this. This made me cry in a good way. How did you know I needed this today?" And then one message, from someone named Amira Wells, founder of a microfund focused on emotional wellness tools. Her subject line is blunt. "Let's talk. You're onto something." She drops her number. A Calendly link. And one sentence that makes me read it twice. "You built something Cassandra couldn't trust." That night, I met her in person, Amira, at a quiet wine bar off Franklin Street. She's direct, graceful, and business sharp in a way that reminds me of Cassandra if Cassandra had ever cared about people as much as numbers. We talked for 2 hours. She doesn't pitch a deal. She pitches a partnership. Equal stake. No exploitation. Just scale. And reach. "You're not a product," she says. "You're proof of survival." That's what makes Ghostlight different. When I leave, she doesn't try to charm me into a yes. She just says, "You already know what you're worth. I'm just here to get it back." And I believe her. Lena meets me back at my place. She doesn't ask how the meeting went. Instead, she sets a takeout bag on my table and says, "Do I finally get to beta test the real version?" I hand her my tablet. Only if you promise to give me hell if it crashes. She grins. Deal. We eat on the couch, knees touching. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I've built something no one can take away. Not Cassandra. Not Marcus. Not even the version of me that once believed they were the dream. It comes in a white envelope. No note. No handwriting. No return address. Just my name. Just the weight of it. Inside, a cashier's check. $25,000. There's a sticky note clipped to it. Typed. Cold. Final release. Legal bonus clause. You earned more than you ever claimed. See. That's it. No apology. No reach for closure. No signature. Just one last financial gesture from a woman who always measured affection in percentages and power. I stare at the check for a long time. Not because I want it, but because I realize I no longer need it. It doesn't make me feel small. It doesn't make me feel bought. It just makes me feel done. I walk 2 blocks to a bank and deposit it without a word. Then, in the quiet that follows, I pull out my phone and do one final thing. I opened our old message thread, me and Cassandra. I scroll past the ghosts, arguments, wedding confirmations, business plans, travel receipts. Words we once thought permanent. At the very top, I tap delete thread. The screen asks, are you sure? This time, I don't hesitate. Yes. The conversation vanishes. So does the last version of me who needed it. That night, Lena and I watched the city from the rooftop of Ghostlight's new micro-office, a shared space in a downtown building with flickering elevator lights and creaky plumbing. But it's ours. We sat on a weathered bench, our feet propped on a milk crate. She's eating cherry licorice. I'm sipping cheap cider. I got the last check today, I say. She nods. Gonna frame it? Nah. I deleted the sender. She smiles. Not the wide grin she gives when something's funny. The softer one. The one that means I saw who you were. And now I see who you are. I glance down at the city below. And for the first time since this started, I don't think of Cassandra. I don't think of the betrayal, or the penthouse, or the ideas that got twisted into someone else's headline. I just think of it now. Of this. Of us. The wind shifts. Lena leans into me, and I let my arm fall across her shoulders. I like who you're becoming, she says. I pause. Then, so do I.